So the guys behind No Man's Sky just made a fantasy version of their sci-fi game. It's like Valheim meets Skyrim, but with co-op. Let's take a look. I mean, the game's got capes, this guy's a rabbit, and there's a castle a million miles in the distance. We're standing on top of a literal mountain, a multiplayer Earth, a procedural Earth. Heard that one before. And it's fantasy, they've got skeletal mobs. I love the huge open environment. Oof. And this underwater world actually looks filled out. There's a massive crashed pirate ship down there. On the bottom left there, it actually says you're really cold right now because obviously you're underwater. We can also see that it's daytime. I mean, that looks really nice. I think this was recorded from a... Whoa, they have dragons. This shot is really interesting. It looks very sci-fi in a fantasy world, and there's some interesting language on this flag here. He's got a wizard's hat and a staff, so magic is confirmed. And this environment looks like nothing I've ever seen. These mounts look incredible. They really suit the terrain and environment. There must be different tameable mounts in these different biomes that we're seeing in the gameplay. And this rabbit looks so rugged. I love it. It looks incredible. We also see 3 players taking off on hand gliders, and you've got mounts. There's multiple forms of travel here. Oh my god, look at that building mechanic. That's interesting. So this must be someone's player home, and there's a spawn point over here, the blue thing. Someone's building a base here. We can see some kind of forge, and there's another player home built in the background there. It really suits the landscape and environment it's in. I also absolutely love this foliage. When a game has good foliage, it just really brings it to life for me. Obviously, we see this lady cutting down a tree, and this guy's actually carrying the log. So we're going to have to harvest those resources. Is that guy flying a kingfisher? They gave me a 1-second clip of a Viking Longboat. That's all I needed. It has a dragon in the background. I don't know how early you get access to dragons, but hopefully it has like that Valheim progression system where you have to earn the right to tame the dragon. It looks like these players are chasing the boars into this kill box. This dude has a fire-imbued sword, and we see what looks like a boss monster, kind of a giant crab with his little crab minions around him. So I think they're going to have boss monsters like in Valheim. And then we're mounting up on different mounts. Oh, you've got... I thought that was first person for a second. But that dragon looks sick. It's like a fat, healthy dragon as well. Look at all the little rafts on the sea there. Clips like this that get me worried though, because this looks empty and barren. But at least you can fly through it if there's nothing there. Compared to this, where you see loads of trees, and I'm assuming when you're actually on the ground, then all the grass starts to render in. This must be some kind of unique dragon that you can tame. Yeah, because if you look at this shot, you can see the trees are rendering, and then over there in the distance, there's no tree. So I assume they only render when you're close to them, which makes sense. Okay, so this is just a massive mountain. Someone's even built a beacon on it. And then there's a flying base over here. What the heck is that? The area below looks very empty. Someone's actually built a player home on this flying base structure. I wonder if this is like a flyable player home that you can transport. This looks incredible with all the dead trees and different sort of biome feeling to the environment. I also love the lighting with these torches, and the character creation must be very diverse because these guys all look very different. Like that guy is super hunched over. Again, we have land mounts, which is cool. Ah, so does this game have a story? Because this is definitely a handcrafted environment. This isn't procedurally generated. We're being worshipped by bunny rabbit people. I hope it does have a story and some kind of like, you know, progression system that makes you want to go onwards. So much diversity in the dragons too. The guy's got deer antlers. No idea what that sci-fi looking structure is in the background though. And then this is CGI. This isn't in-game multiplayer. Don't know what this is. Okay. That's very strange. I have no idea. Light No Fire is what the game's called. Light No Fire is a game about adventuring, building, survival, and exploring together. Set on a fantasy planet the size of Earth. So instead of No Man's Sky having tons of different planets, Hello Games is instead going to be creating just one huge planet with loads of diversity. It brings a depth of a role-playing game to the freedom of a survival sandbox. Carve out a life together, meet players from across the globe. Oh no, carve a life together, meet players from across the globe. So this is going to be like one of those Rust PvP multiplayer games where someone's building some ugly phallus-shaped statue on the mountain top and everyone has to just look at that. I want my own server where no one can touch it apart from my subscribers. Other people just ruin everything. Build a life, explore, and survive together. Construct persistent buildings and communities, or strike out alone to discover the world for others. So they're essentially building like an MMO here. I'm really confused now. Are there different servers? Are there password protected servers that I can play on my own? A procedural Earth. A truly open world with no boundaries, at a scale never attempted before. A massively varied and dense plant field with immersive biomes, unique enemies, and valuable resources to discover. I didn't see any mining in the gameplay, and I feel like that's a really cool part of Valheim. And I would love to see that when it comes to finding these different unique resources. Right now, beyond building anything, what is the reason I want to go and explore all this stuff? Light No Fire presents you with an ancient Earth to uncover, one where you're not the hero. Thick with lore, mystery, and a constant fight for survival, inspired by the adventure, charm, and imagination that we love from classic fantasy. That's interesting. Every mountain can be climbed. Oh my god, it's a Todd Howard reference. And below them lie endless vistas, oceans, and continents that perhaps no others have seen. So they have like Blackreach underground potentially. Who will climb to the tallest mountain? Who will find the deepest sea? Set sail across vast oceans and rivers, ride wild beasts through fantastical landscapes, fly dragons over undiscovered lands. Doesn't even have a release date yet. Drop a like on the video if you're excited to hear more about this, and I'll be doing some update videos as we learn more.